you're moving to Salem, Oregon, you are probably wondering what the hell is the weather actually like here. Well, in this video, we're going to be talking all about the weather, but more importantly, you're going to learn if the weather in Salem is going to be a deal breaker for you. It's a deal breaker for a lot of people, and you're about to find out why. We're going to talk all about allergies, the humidity, wildfire, rain, and even the storms here. I myself relocated to Salem, and these were some things that I wish I knew beforehand. But now, here I am, telling you exactly what you can expect when you move to Salem. The weather in Salem has been changing within the past few years, but this video is going to give you a good understanding and set your expectations properly. Now, I will say right off the bat that you're probably going to need to invest in some good rain boots or galoshes because surprise, surprise, it does rain here. You've probably heard about the weather in other Pacific Northwest cities like Seattle or Portland, and all you hear is that it's rainy and gray and depressing. So let's talk about Salem and if it's anything like the Portland weather. Salem's just about 45 minutes south of Portland, and it is located in the Willamette Valley, so it's incredibly green and lush, but it does come with its own drawbacks. Salem is the capital of Oregon, which might make you think that it's just a bureaucratic wasteland with nothing going on. At least that's exactly what I thought about Salem before I moved here a few years ago. Now, if this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything about Salem, Oregon, make sure to subscribe below and hit that little bell button to be the first one notified when I put out a new video each week. My name's Clarity Odd, and just like you, I relocated to Salem. And lucky for you, I'm also a local realtor. So if you're thinking about buying a home here in Salem, do not hesitate to reach out. People just like you who are watching these videos on YouTube are reaching out. We're helping them find homes, we're helping them understand the Salem market, and we want to help you too. All of our contact information is in the description of this video. Don't forget to stay tuned until the end of this video because we've got some bloopers to show ya. Not that I make mistakes at all. Psh. Who does that? You probably have an image of Oregon in your head, and likely it's filled with trees and greenery and a very lush landscape. Well, that's completely accurate. It is incredibly green here, but something that might catch you off guard are the allergies that come with all of that lush green forested area. Salem is surrounded by farmland and trees, and to the south we have Lynn County, which is quite literally the grass seed capital of the world. So if you've got allergies related to grass, you are quickly going to find that in the springtime, in the summertime, your allergies are just gonna go bananas. Growing up here, I didn't really have too many allergies, but then when I came to Salem, I quickly found out that every single June for the whole entire month I was sneezing and I had itchy eyes and an itchy nose and runny nose, and now I just take Zyrtec all year round. I'm single-handedly keeping them in business. Based on what my friends and my family and my clients all have to say, they have allergies too. Because we're surrounded by just so much greenery and pollen, you're gonna find that even if you don't have allergies in other states, you might just have them here. Because it does rain in the winter and fall, most people don't have allergies during that time. But I would say if you're susceptible to mold spores and you do have an allergy to mold, you might actually find that you're feeling allergic reactions because of the mold rather than the pollen. Before I move on to my next point, go down to the comments and tell me exactly where you're watching this video from. Next on our list is the humidity. And the thing is, we just don't really have humidity, especially if you're coming from a place like the South or the East Coast. You're gonna find that Oregon summers are not very humid. You're not gonna feel sticky and hot all the time. We don't have humidity, but we do have seasonality. So this means in the winter time, it's gonna be damn cold, and in the summertime, it can get all the way up to 100 degrees. The summers are not arid like the desert. It's not humid like the South, so it is kind of a good in between. I just said that the summers get to be around 100 degrees, but we do have crazy summer days sometimes that get all the way up to 115 degrees. This is an abnormality, but it is happening more often. Back in the day, Salem people and really anyone in Oregon didn't really need to have AC units, but because the temperatures are getting warmer here, you need to have AC. A lot of these homes are older and don't have central air systems. The best way to mitigate that is just get a mini split. You do the ducting on the outside of your house and voila, you have AC. But you need to find a home with AC because the summers here are just getting brutal. In the winter time, it does get cold and we do sometimes get ice storms and snowstorms. And when this happens, because we're really not used to the snow or the ice, we just aren't really fully prepared. So literally everything shuts down. So that means schools are gonna either have late start or they're gonna shut down the school for the day. Restaurants close down. I mean, we're just not prepared for it. So it's like everything just ceases to exist. A few years ago, we did have a really bad ice storm that blanketed everything in ice for about a week. And because ice is so heavy, it was pulling down power lines. We have a lot of oak trees here, so when it warmed up a little bit, the oak trees split because of the expanding water, which of course then the power lines got caught in the way of, falling branches. So we had a lot of power outages, and my house also had a power outage for about a week, which meant that we didn't have heat in our house for a whole entire week in the middle of winter. Here's a little tip that I learned the hard way. If you have a gas fireplace, which is pretty darn common here, you can actually get double D batteries and you can light your fireplace if it's gas and has a little switch on the wall. You can put those double D batteries in and light the fireplace using those batteries. That is the only thing that saved my husband and I in the winter. We couldn't even get out of our house because it was like that much ice on the road and our cars would just slide down the hill. Again, that was an abnormality, but it just goes to show the winters here can be kind of brutal, so you should prepare before we actually get to winter. In the summertime, you're going to experience wildfire season, which I know sounds terrifying, but wildfires here in the Pacific Northwest are normal and they happen every single year because we do have so many trees. So in the summertime, they dry out. If you have a strike of lightning, then all of a sudden you have a wildfire. We also every year seem to have man-made fires because darn tootin' people can't put out a campfire properly, so a little tiny spark will set off the whole entire forest. Like I said, it's really common to have forest fires every single summer, so you can expect to see hazy skies in the summertime, and that's just from the ash blowing in from central and eastern Oregon. It's important to note that this is normal people, and you're gonna hear a lot of talk about wildfire season on the news like it's nothing, because it's just the norm here. It's really nothing. Fires here do not get bad in Salem. You need to worry about the fires in central and eastern Oregon, and the times that we have smoky skies is because the wind is blowing that smoke and soot into Salem. When we do have days like that, when the smoke is blowing into Salem because of the wind, you're gonna see that the skies look orange and very post-apocalyptic. It's really like Blade Runner 2049 when he's going into Las Vegas. Like, that is what it looks like during wildfire season when it gets really bad and the wind blows in the smoke from the forest fires in central and eastern Oregon. It doesn't happen every year, but when it does, it's kind of cool, but it can also really be bad for your lungs. The best way to protect your lungs during fire season is just put on a mask and go about your business. Next on my list is the rain. We are here in the Willamette Valley, which means that Salem is valley living. It's very lush and it's very green, but that also means that to create such a lush environment, you really do have to have a lot of water. And just like the rest of the Pacific Northwest, like Portland and Seattle, Salem does get its fair share of rain during the winter and fall months. During the winter, sometimes you have days where there's downpour for entire days, and other times it's just like a misty rain. But in the winter, you really do have to prepare for wet days and gray skies. This doesn't relate exactly to the rain, but during the winter time, our sun sets around 4:30 p.m. And in the summertime, it sets around 9:30 p.m. on the longest day. So if you're not used to sun seasonality, this can be a really big shock to the system, especially if you're going into work at 9 a.m., coming out at 5 p.m. and you haven't seen the sun all day. It happens. Next on our list is flood zones. So part of Salem is in a flood zone, but there aren't many houses that actually encompass these flood zone areas. But it is important to note that when you're looking for a home here, you need to check the flood zone, because if you're in a flood zone area, you're gonna have to pay for flood insurance, and that can add up quickly if you're not expecting that cost. And I know that this sounds scary, but most of our flood zones are either 100 or 500 year floodplains, which means it's not something that's gonna happen every single year. It would be more of an irregularity to have those floods in Salem. Most of the flood zones in Salem are located near downtown area, and thankfully that's not where most of the residential neighborhoods are. Most likely 99 out of 100 people who purchase a home here aren't even gonna have to worry about a flood zone, because the houses that they buy won't be even near one. It's just something to know, because there is still that 1% chance that you wanna purchase a house in a flood zone. Let's talk about the storms here in Salem. Because we don't have a lot of humidity here in the Northwest, we just don't have things like massive thunderstorms or tornadoes or hurricanes. Those are things that we don't have to worry about here. But we do get the occasional summer thunderstorm, but usually it lasts for no more than an hour and the skies turn back to normal super fast. The type of storm that we do have will be those winter rainstorms that they just rain all day, or those snowstorms that shut the city down for a whole week because we are incredibly ill prepared for the snow. That's right, we don't know anything about the snow. It's like it doesn't even exist until it does, and then we're like, oh shit, what do we do? That's just kind of how we roll. So if you're coming from a place where there's high humidity and you have to worry about things like tornadoes and hurricane and huge thunderstorms, those just aren't a thing here. In the wintertime, it is really important that you are prepared ahead of time for those snowstorms, because they are becoming more common. So when you get here, do not wait until the snowstorm comes to get your booty to Home Depot and then get a generator or those extra batteries for your fireplace. Get those things beforehand so that you can be prepared. If you're wanting to move to Salem, but you're still feeling like you're needing some more information or help about what it's actually like to live here, well, send us a text, give us a call, send us an email, whatever you want to do, but reach out, because people just like you on YouTube are watching these videos. They're reaching out and we are helping them find their dream home here in Salem. All of our contact information is in the description of this video. Okay, bye friends. Mold pores. This is an